let's talk about, the case of the kidnap of the Chibok girls. Also, the attack of the train, of the moving train, which happened earlier this year, around Kaduna State or thereabout. Yeah, let's talk about that situation and as to how this basically must have happened. And then, it took them a long while, to actually resolve this matter. Let's talk about that.
The issue you raised in terms of Chibok girls, including the train stations that were attacked some months ago, all is within the center of defense security. Because as security experts, we have defense security, we have economic security, we have health security, we have education security, and more. But the one you are talking about is bordering on defense security. Why is it defense security is bordering on life and property? That is defense security. Now, in any nations, in any setting, internal security, the frontier are the police, first of all. While you now have the military for external security, invasions of territorial integrity, where the armed forces now comes in. Now, if you look at the train attack that happened, normally in every nation, you have what we call insurgency sometimes, the kidnappers element, who mostly use that to hold the state to ransom for either negotiations of one thing or the other. But one interesting thing that happened, recently the DSS arrested a man called Mamu, who basically resides in Kaduna State, which was arrested in Egypt, where he's on his way to Saudi Arabia for lesser Hajj. And now the case is in the court. We will not speak more because already the case is in court. Okay. Public were able to now realize why it took long was because of the Mamu intervention, which initial stage, the perpetrator were looking at it is not for demand of money. It's a demand of release of some of their relationship that were being arrested and in the prison currently. So in exchange of that, while later issue of demand for ransom now coming, which Mamu was basically the people who foster that area that delays all that. Because those family who has the money at early stage, they pay. And their family was released. I think it's over 6 months now. Why those family who did not have the money still stay long. But kudos to the current chief of defense staff, who was able to use a lot of strategy and intelligence, and they were all being freed today. That is why it is good to look at it. And this is still the area, the armed forces, that certain things they do are not in the public fold. Because we need to know, if you now, how do I able to secure the remaining release without ransom paid? Because ransom was not paid, and all of them were safely and released to their family. So these are the effort of the armed forces. And equipment, a lot has gone in to do that work that are not in the public fold. This is why I said we cannot categorically say that this is not happen, this happened, because we have seen the results. And kudos to the armed forces for doing that job.
Share with us the areas that should be looked into, okay? And then we'll also run back to the front areas, to the front lanes, and then make a clearer explanation on basically the use, flaws, faults, and then betterments of the use.
In every society, every nation, you have a country, you have armed forces. Armed forces comprises Army, Navy, Air Force.
Okay.
And you have other security agencies. Internally, we are the police, the DSS, and other security agencies. I'm a security strategic expert. And as I've said, the area we're looking at now is defense security, because there are other forms of security. Now, coming to defense security of life and property, because a territory called Nigeria is a property of Nigeria, which need to be secured. And the people that are inhabitants are the human. That is why I call it defense security of life and property, which you can also take it away from other forms of security. Now, looking at defense security, yes, I will look at it that it is time for us to look at our offensive and defensive capability. What that means. Offensive means you take the fight to the enemy where they are before they get to you. If, for example, Abuja as example, we already have intelligent information that they are going to attack Abuja. so at so time. Before then, you have gotten information through your intelligence. You have to make sure you diffuse it. By going to where they are, the planning and everything, then that cannot happen. That is offensive capability. That you have what it takes to take the fight there, not them even come to where you are. In terms of defensive, if they were able to bring it, you also neutralize it. The impact might not be really, it's just a minute. This is defensive capability. That you have to see it and you know when it's coming. So I will now advise the armed forces, other security agencies to develop. And one aspect we can use to do that, to be able to opt in terms of offensive capability, is to build intelligence unit of every armed forces, every security agent of the government. You must develop it. When you develop it, it helps to know what is going on. But I won't be able to tell you publicly what constitutes intelligence, so that the strategy to use, you don't divert it even to the enemy.
Okay.
Yes. So on that basis, I will not mention that.
That's all right.
Yes, but I'll only give it to you that once you'll be able to develop your intelligent unit, is capable of giving information that will help you to apply your offensive capability. Yes. What that means, because there are issues where you don't need to use, let me say it, firearms, but you have been able to get information and diffuse it. Where there's an issue that comes, you need protections. So these are that if we can be able to, within the armed forces, they have it, but it is time to up it more. The police, they have it. They need to develop it more. That will help us more. Yes. But if you look at the issue of the finances, the things there is that, first of all, if the legislator come out with the budget, we also need to know if that budget is being released. For example, if police budget in 2023 is about 500 billion, and from January till December of the fiscal year, you release 250 billion. How do you expect police the work they should do within that time of January to December? So this is one aspect in terms of finance. Because sometimes what you hear in the paper does not translate what is reality on ground. That is why I said I will not be able to speak categorically. If you said what is released is not commensurate with what is on ground. Because I agree with the citizens. All they want is a free society, a secure place.
We want the proof and the result.
And results.
Yes,
it is only when area is safe, they say, oh, you have done well. But it is time for us to ask questions. Why haven't you done well? What is the problem? So that sometimes we don't throw away the baby with the bad water. Thank you.
Credits to the defense firm or the military. Yes, credits to them on the few they have done. But I still don't really think much is done, okay, regarding the sense of security and safety right here in Nigeria. Okay, so right now, I really want to know, because this is what we hear. We just hear the funds are being thrown out there to these guys, and yet we are not seeing a measure of activities or a measure of efforts or results. Yes, that's the word, being put out as regards to those funds. Now, for example, I heard, an amount of about 820 billion naira and even more has been disbursed or was disbursed out for these cases. So now let's talk about the reasons why this, because honestly, from my own view, and I'm sure from the people out there, we are not seeing a result measuring up to those kind of funds.
Okay.
Yes, so.
I think you have a lot of questions that is pregnant.
Oh, please.
Yeah, but first of all, there's something clearly we need to understand. In a recent time, you are seeing the military within the internal security. It is because we are pulling them from sometimes what we call their constitutional responsibility, which is supposed to be specifically for territorial integrity. But because of our security challenges and reality, then the government needs to draw them inside internal security, which I have said that currently our military is overstretched because we are pulling them from one location to another locations. This is on one part. Now come to the issue of the fund you are talking about. Yes, I will categorically say that the current administrations has done pretty very well in terms of over 1 trillion has been spent into the armed forces since this regime started. This is on the one side. But looking at it that vis-a-vis the amount of money the armed forces receive and other security agencies receive, it is not commensurate with the work on ground. This is where you are asking. I will tell you that our armed forces and other security agencies is underfunded in the first place.
Obviously, now.
Because security is capital intensive. And why it is so? Security supports your economy and your economy supports your security. Because if your air is not safe, nobody fly in. If your sea is not safe, no businesses. If your land is not safe, no movement. That is one. For a quick example, if you look at Nigerian police today, we don't have up to 5,000 police. And police requires communications, training, and welfare. Now, what is the numbers of citizens of Nigeria? It's over 200 million that you are supposed to be policing. Now, what is the square kilometer of our land to be covered as internal? And the crime vis-a-vis that comes out of this entire called Nigeria. And now if you look at Egypt, Nigeria land size is bigger than Egypt. The populations of Nigeria is way far than Egypt. Egypt has over 1 million police. That's, you can now see, these are not comparable.
Now, this is exactly the reason why I am asking you. Okay, now there's something you didn't actually mention.
Yes.
You didn't talk about the safety of these guys, or probably the buildings, because I'm concerned at which how you invariably walk to so many police stations.
Yes.
Yeah, so many police stations in here, right here in Nigeria. And then you see they are really underdeveloped. Like you see some police stations, the roofs are people.
Yes, that's where I'm still trying to go to.
Okay,
that
that's
the
fine.
fund you are talking about.
Yeah.
First of all, to me as an expert, that's why I said our security agency today is underfunded. That's why I've now given it to you. The welfare, the training, the equipment to monitor over 200 million.
Well, I don't really know. Sorry, I don't really know why you say it's underfunded when 820 billion naira or more has, usually disbursed. I don't know.
Okay. So, now, when you said 800 billion naira, I've even
820 billion.
I now said this regime, from inceptions when they came in 2015 till date, they spent over 3 trillion, which is bigger than what you mentioned.
They spent 3 trillion
for
trillions. Insecurity,
army, navy, air force, police, and all that is over that. Now I'm now breaking it down for you that the police who are responsibly in charge of internal security. Okay. What is the populations, the numbers of security we have today, the police? What are the equipment? What are the training? And what is the welfare?
Good.
Our barracks are still poor. Now there's no enough equipment in terms of emergency, in terms of car, in terms of communications, and in terms of intelligent gathering informations, because it takes chunks of money. So the point I'm trying to make in essence is that the money we are saying that has been given to them, I'm not speaking for any of the armed forces, it is strictly not enough.
Hold on.
Because of our populations and the vast land they needed to police and the numbers of crime that come out every day. If you are able to have the statistics today, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, what crime rate that comes out every day? Not the one they've done investigations and maybe probably take to court. The one that is still under investigation. So these are the things that Nigeria needs to know deeply before we now look at it, whether the money given to them vis-a-vis is not commensurate with the work they have done. Okay,
hold on. Very nice explanations. But right now, to this, with the monies, with the few which has been disbursed to them, do you really think they're doing their job? Like the people
for me as an expert, I can't clearly tell you on one condition. Because first of all, that's why I'm not speaking for them, but I can speak on behalf of Nigeria and the public. Because first of all, if you take the army as an example, if army is to procure APC, how many did they procure and what is the cost? And vis-a-vis, when the money was released to them and how much? Operation cost. Recently, you see a lot of our fighter jet, we call it air drill in Abuja here, that take place before the Independence Day, where you have some parachuting training that come down from the flight on emotions. Now, this is what is called air drill on the road. So, the military is supposed to conduct show off Show off of military might is to bring out the equipment they have and walk on the road. It deter the enemy of state to tell you we're up to the task and we have what it takes. And for some times, military have not done that. So that is why I said the Air Force did a little what we call air drill recently. The flying of those jets cost a lot of money in the fuel burning.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Until you'll be able to know what did they procure and at what cost vis-a-vis what was being released, then we can be able to categorically make a statement that the money being given to them, it does not justify the input. But we as a security expert have said it, that security, it is not yet well funded so far because of the current reality globally in the world. How many intelligence the police has, and how are they continue upgrading this intelligence department vis-a-vis training, equipment, and welfare.
Why does it feel I don't agree with what you are saying?
Yes.
Yes. Because I pretty know very well that just with little funds, okay?
Yeah.
Just with little funds to make things right, somehow in several other situations out there, they actually come out well. But right now, you are telling me that these large amounts we hear are not enough, okay, for the proper execution or the proper maintenance of the security status right here in Nigeria.
Yes.
So I don't really know why. Honestly, really, a little bit.
You must not agree.
Okay, so
yes,
but however, this is why, anyways, this is why I'm speaking with an expertise.
Yes, that is why that's why I said I'm not speaking for the armed forces or Nigerian police.
Okay.
Yeah, but because of my knowledge on expertise, now if the Navy are to procure, we call it patrol boats, in order to patrol all the water line and all that. Recently, you see the discovery on the illegal pipeline that all our oil are being stolen. Now, how often did the Navy conduct such search within the coastal line? So these are, yes. But in terms of money, yes, agreed that a lot of money has been released to them. But before you categorically say that the money given to them vis-a-vis is not commensurate, we must know what have they buy. There are what we call classified arms and non-classified arms. Some arms there as within state to state. At what cost? If Nigeria is going to buy a fighter jet, what is the cost of fighter jet? If, for example, F-16, then and which country are you buying from? And at what cost? Then what do you say you have released to the armed forces? So that is why I said, I'm not speaking for them, but as an expertise, this is how we need to know. But in issue of police, which is commonly we see police everywhere, police is underfunded. I will tell you this categorically. And I've given to you what is the numbers of police. Police is not enough today to secure the territory called Nigeria.
And they are still underfunded, even though they are not enough.
They are not. How many patrol vehicles? If you have RRS, Rapid Response Squad, today, just pick a call and call police. How long? Within nearby, how many police that is within your locations? So
very well. These things are supposed to be looked into.
Exactly, look into. So to me, I will advise that the next regime, you must take security as a business. How do you fund police? How do you fund army and navy? Vis-a-vis the current challenges and current realities all over the world. So police need to have more police. If Nigeria have over 1 million police, it's not too much. Then you talk of their salary monthly, the allowances, the barrack, the training, the equipment.
God bless you. Now this is you coming to like the bases. I was so keen to hear this basis being resolved. That was literally why I came up with that question. Like, how do we get to have this lots of funds out there for these guys? Yeah. The basis and not resolved.
I think if you ask me how do we get it, we need innovations.
All right.
Yes.
So how do we get those innovations?
Yeah, for example, if I may digress, if you pretty have understanding of Nigeria's state as at 1999 before democracy, because before democracy when the military is ruling, then every state will have barrack, then military and more who are in charge of security and all that, then definitely the level of civilian movement were also not too often. But currently, now that we're in democratic situations, there are political issues, political crisis. Yeah, agitations, all that is up. Now, in 1999, a particular state in Nigeria, the governor they had at that time create what is called Security Trust Fund and what happened with Security Trust Fund. During his own tenure, because before his tenure in 1999, there's this robbery style which I call Shino Rambo. Shino Rambo in the sense that they are coming and they will tell you and they will be there at that time. Now what he did was that he created a Security Trust Fund. Security Trust Fund, individual, private sector now contribute money. And what that money was used for, he makes sure the welfare of the police, buy more cars, which we call RRS, Rapid Response Squad. Now, if you are taking 10,000 police, because federal government is in charge of police, he requested for more. And if, example, you deploy about 2,500 police, you needed to add training, equipment, and welfare. And that money was used. So you look at it, this idea can be replicated at national level. And when that is done, you'll see that we'll be able to tackle insecurity, especially the internal security. If you go to the command, Abuja command today, which is close by the old CBN, if you went there, you'll see that the cases they are having there, police stations like a market, the kind of cases coming in day and every day. That is where you can now be able to wonder, how will this police cope with the numbers of cases coming? They're going to take each one, everyone, take their statement, look at it, do investigations before prosecuting them. And if those policies are not well taken care of, there's no material for investigations. You need a vehicle, you need to fuel it, you need to maintain it. Because the stations is just a reporting. But the scene of the crime need to be visited. And the areas where to be investigated. All this required a lot of funds. So when you have an innovative people who are in the helm of government, and this idea is being brought into play, you can now see that the issue of security can become a thing of the past.
Thank you very much. That was a very smart one from him. Dr. Hassan is a senior security expertise, yes, of our very beautiful country, Nigeria.
Thank you for having me, and keep watching Matters with Madinma.